What's up, guys? Glad you can make it to the live. I have a very special guest today. This guy is someone who I watched when I first started reselling in 2019. Formerly, he was a lot of Josh. Now he's just Josh K on YouTube, Instagram, all the socials. Formerly, he was a part of a podcast, The Joshes of Reselling, featuring Harry Tornado and another guy named Josh. But now he is back in the grind. He's doing this part-time. He's kind of in the clothing category. He's following all the resellers and he's starting to upload again, which I am really grateful for because he's a really awesome dude. Hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Please hold the comments towards the end. I'll try to hit some of those, but yeah, you guys just enjoy this guy and I'm going to bring him on here. Josh K.
Hey, no, you're hyping me up way too much there. No, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it because we're chatting a little bit like right before we went live, but I remember like Sean, like I would see like Taylor Exchange like in the comments all the time, and he would give like little updates on his business. Like he would like let me know like, oh, I'm like thinking about taking this full time, and then like it's almost been like 3-4 years later, like actually seeing him doing it is super cool. Like he has a part-time employee now. So I don't know. Especially with you like being on YouTube now, I feel like we have a lot to talk about. There's like a lot of overlap in terms of like what we've experienced, what like you are experiencing right now as like a full-time seller and on YouTube, and then having all these other like side businesses on top of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then whoever pops in the chat, yeah, I've been MIA for like 2 years, so I'm excited to, I guess, like see new faces and then hopefully see some older ones too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So there's a lot to go over. First, I'll just give you pretty much introduced me, which people already know what I'm doing, and I get it. But like, Josh, you started YouTube, was it 2019?
It was either 2018 or
maybe?
I think it was 2018. Yeah, but my first few videos, like, they're so bad. Like,
No, man.
I can't.
Tell me.
They're just like screen shares, and then I have like a webcam on the bottom left trying to do like what sold videos. But
Mhm.
that was when I was like just getting into reselling, so I didn't even know what I was doing, but I just like threw stuff out there just because.
Well, something that shined through with your videos, especially when you kind of figured out like the meta, because if you guys think reselling is hard, YouTube is a different animal in itself. A lot of it comes down to um, audio, lighting, getting the shot correct, speaking clearly, and not having tons of mistakes, and then figuring out how to edit and upload and do all those things. What I noticed about you first and foremost was you're a good storyteller. You have a good flow to what you're saying, and then you speak really clearly. And a lot of that's from your background, I imagine, being well educated. Josh, if you guys didn't know, was a West Point graduate and an Army officer. So if you're not familiar with the military world, that's like the cream of the crop of those officers coming out of those academies. And that was something that I noticed was not only rare, but the fact that you were able to balance that with starting your side business, which, I mean, 2018, 2019, if you got in there, like, reselling was excellent. It's still pretty excellent, but since 2020, everything got a lot more difficult once everyone started catching up. And if you guys, I know a lot of you guys have watched me in the last year, but I started YouTube in 2020, and I was similar to Josh, where but worse. I had much less of a following. I was constantly trying to reach out to these creators like you guys are reaching out to me. This is the guy that I reached out to with all those questions that you guys send me. And it's hard to get responses whenever you're trying to learn reselling, learn YouTube. You have people asking questions. But I remember one story in particular where Walmart was doing a buyback program with car seats. And what you could
Oh
do is
yeah,
you could go take a car seat to
yeah,
Walmart, and this isn't a new car seat, it's anything. It was a recycle
yep.
program. And I think they crashed after 2 weeks, but essentially you could thrift a car seat for $1 or pick it up out of the trash, go to Walmart, and they'd give you a $30 gift card. And you could do that twice. So Josh had talked about it on a channel. I did it. I instantly made $60. I was like, this guy's a genius. I need to know who he is. And then I
Yeah.
brought my grandma. I brought my grandma up there to do the same thing under her name with 2 car seats. And I was like, man, this guy's he's got something figured out. Like, I want to follow him and learn more from him.
Yeah, it was like wild times back then. Like, no, yeah, I definitely say, especially getting back into it now, things have definitely changed. Because yeah, like even the brands that you need to pick up, I feel like you have to be a lot more knowledgeable. You have to do a lot of research beforehand, and you have to know what you want to pick up, like in terms of like this is going to be my buy price, this is going to be my expected sell price, and then understanding like shipping costs and then the fees to really know like, okay, like if I pay 5 and it sells for 20, I'm not
Am I
actually
making
making,
money?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not actually making $15. It's more like $4 or $5 after, shipping and fees and stuff like that. But
for
yeah,
sure.
like back then, like 2018, 2019, you can pick up any like dingy Tommy Bahama t-shirt. It doesn't even have to be a Hawaiian shirt, just any Tommy Bahama, sell it for 30, $40 easy. It is
Yeah.
like an instant sell.
And
But
I
yeah,
remember
I mean,
you found Untuckits and you're selling for 40, $50. And that's when Untuckit must have either just
dude,
launched to like the
yeah,
regular public, but I remember thinking like, I can never find these. And now I find Untuckits every week and I'm spending ideally like 4 to 5 and selling them for like 19 to
yeah,
24. And if you guys know, I run a volume business. So people say the term bread and butter. I'm trying to extinguish that and just call them basic items. A basic item to me is like $7 to $12 profit
mhm,
that you can pretty much find anywhere in America. So those basic items are what I push through. I obviously find, better scores, but a lot of this business is just where you're located. Now, you were in Georgia, I believe,
mhm,
and then you moved to New Jersey. Can you talk about like I think that was your hometown, correct?
yeah,
And how
yeah,
did it
yeah. Yeah.
really
So
affect your reselling
I'm
business?
I'm originally like grew up in like the New Jersey, New York area, so this is like childhood home. But
Okay.
yeah, in terms of like you were saying earlier, like I was active duty in the army for like 5, 6 years. So kind of bounced around. I was in like Tennessee, like maybe like 45 minutes from Nashville for like 2, 3 years, and then another like 2, 2.5 years down in Georgia. But yeah, when my last duty station down in Fort Benning, Georgia, it was like my job down there was like a schoolhouse instructor.
Okay.
So like incoming like brand new lieutenants or like more senior like NCOs or like non-commissioned officers, like
Right.
enlisted, that have a bit more experience. They would come through like this leadership school, and it was just like a 30-day course, like churning in and out. And
Yeah.
we would do like we would do like 3, 4 days on, like 24/7, and then we would have like 4 or 5 days off. Like that's how
Okay.
the
So like a Panama
class
schedule
schedule.
almost.
Yeah, so I had these like extended weekends, and I was just like down there by myself. My wife now, we were engaged back then, but we weren't like living together. So I had like all this free time, like what like during my like off cycle, just kind of trying to figure out things to do. And I don't even know how I stumbled on reselling, but I was just kind of in the YouTube rabbit hole. And then, I mean, people were always creating content on resale. Even back then, it's definitely not as big of a niche, but people are still creating content about like eBay selling back then. So came across a few content creators. I was like, oh, like there's a Goodwill like 5 minutes from me right now. So let me just check it out. And I mean, first sale, and it's been all downhill from there. But yeah, things like um when I was like getting out of the military, like as I was building up the reselling business, I was like, oh, like this is something I could potentially do full time. But we kind of go into like what happened because I tried the whole full time reselling for it's probably went at it for like 2 years, and then decided to kind of pivot and move a different direction.
Yeah, so we're kind of all over the place with what we're saying, but
Yeah.
one thing you talked about, like you train the officers and the higher NCOs. My brother is a Mustang, so he's Air Force
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
9, 10 years, and then he went officer. Well, he's a logistics officer, and he was kind of like doing that stuff at the same time you were, and that's kind of drew me to that because you kind of
Mhm.
like you're kind of like my brother actually a little bit. So I saw the similarity there, and then I was just kind of like, oh man, there's people all over doing great things,
Yeah.
and military, is a big deal in our family. So that was cool to see. And you said the years you were full time, was that before COVID 2020, or was it like during, or was it like
It was, yeah, it
during?
was a little bit like the end, like second half of 2018 into COVID.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense because that's when your content was coming out. And okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I still remember because the big people that were doing videos, Cincinnati Picker was the first person I found. I
Oh yeah,
remember my wife and I were furnishing our first house, and we were going to garage sales every weekend. And I remember because I played baseball growing up, and I was like, man, there's really nice gloves and bats here. I was like, I don't need them, but I know they're super expensive and they want like $5. So I typed in garage sale on YouTube, Cincinnati Picker popped up, and then you were the next channel that I watched. And because you're closer in age, and I mean, Cincinnati Picker, he's close to our age too, but like
yeah,
he has that old dad like like vibe. So sorry, John, if you're watching, but like you're good. And I remember the collaborations between like I remember you missed a I think it was a Nakona glove at a Goodwill or
yeah. It was
something
like
like that. And
catcher's mitt.
John commented and was just like, "Oh, don't pass that up," because he worked at
Yeah,
Five Sporting Goods and knew all about the equipment. And then you were like, "Oh man, like that's I thought it was cool how like such a big world, everything kind of like condensed down when you find like the YouTube niche
yeah.
of reselling." So we'll hit a couple of these comments just because why not? PK Zink, he's a good guy. Follows. He says Josh is back. Yes, he definitely is. We got Jake from Tennessee to Texas. Always much respect, positivity sent your way, Sean. Thank you for that, Jake. Yeah, the positivity through YouTube cannot be understated. I mean, it's a big deal, a big driver in keeping people like us just putting the extra time and effort to get videos out. Zink also did the car seat thing. Yeah, Walmart eventually was like, no more car seats.
Yeah, they cut it short.
Because car seats, if you're in a wreck, you can't use them. If they expire, you can't use them. So they are a huge problem. And I don't know what Walmart was thinking. Probably just needed some good publicity. New Jersey, the armpit of New York, the armpit. So yeah, that is something we've heard. So when you moved back to New Jersey, I know one thing you talked about was like, well, two things. One, the prices were definitely higher, which now I bet you it's probably a little higher, but probably on par with what everything is now. I mean, most Goodwills in the Dallas area are $8.99 for a top. Sometimes they'll fluctuate the short sleeves and polos to $5, and then jeans can be anywhere from like 12 to like $50. I mean, it's crazy how some of these places are pricing them. But you had a guy. Talk about your guy that you had, because
Richie.
I never knew his name, but I just knew you would be like, I got a guy, and I feel like you were keeping that under wraps because he was just feeding you all this stuff. He's like one of those guys that just loves to buy, know, and
he would like buy out estate sales. He would, I guess I was really buying from like two people, because I bought there's another, he goes by like Mr. Buys a Lot, but he had like 2 warehouses of just stuff that was unlisted. So I would buy a lot of stuff from him. And then Richie, he would just like buy out estate sales. He would go to auctions and just have like crazy things. And we would just fill up my car. I had a GMC Terrain. So it was like an SUV, but like on the larger side of an SUV. So we would just cram it in until like we literally couldn't cram it in anymore.
And then you get home and you're like, oh, where do I start, right?
That was I mean, it was good for YouTube content, I guess, because there were like a lot of really good things. Like he would sell me that whole like car filled lot for like anywhere from like 2,000 to 2,500, and once it was said and done, probably triple, quadruple my money, like close to like 10K in terms of profit. But it was overwhelming, like especially as like a one person team. It came to the point where even when I made back my money and some, there was just like so much left over, because I would of course like go through and hand pick and list like the really good stuff first, like the things that are going to sell for like $300-400
get your 2K
right off
back.
That. And then there was just all these little knickknacks that if I did list it, probably like $10 plus shipping, $10 plus shipping, $10 plus shipping. And they were all like, it wasn't clothing, it was all random things like little action figures, like Lego. Like he would have like sports cards in there. Yeah, little tchotchkes. And like even like listing it, like photographing, fine, but like doing the research, and then when it does sell, trying to ship out like things that are
different shapes,
different sizes. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't even have a box for this. Like, what am I gonna do? So it got overwhelming quick.
And see, it's like there's pros and cons, right? Like you don't have to source, so you may save 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week. And then you got to build the content off of that one lot. But then at the same time, people are like, well, just get an employee. If I threw 1,000 different items to Randy, my part-time employee, she wouldn't know where to start. She'd probably get like just that same feeling of anxiety. You can't, that's what I think a lot of people don't really understand. When you're hiring somebody, most people have been trained or they've done a job for somebody and then they go home and they turn it off. When you're doing the training and the, hey, this is what we need to do, then this, it's very difficult to give somebody a ton of different items. And then it's like, oh, we got to ship, 6 items in poly bags, this one in small boxes, big boxes. Oh, I need bubble wrap. Oh, this is fragile. I need some foam. There's all kinds of things that go into it. But do you think that is the way though, to like, let's just say, for example, I don't know if New Jersey is a good spot, but here where I'm at, I could have a garage sale and put everything between $1 and $5 and sell a bunch of that random stuff, but you're still dedicating 4 to 6 hours on a Saturday. Or maybe you find a guy, somebody who can sell, this is 50 cents a piece and just get rid of all of it, but you got to be able to make those contacts. Do you think it's like, now that you're getting back into it, I know you're thrifting, you said you went this morning and found some like killer pieces.
Oh yeah.
Do you think finding, calling Richie up or Mr. Buys a lot, be like, hey, can I source like your spot? Or do you think it's worth it? Or do you think it's like just not a headache you're willing to take on anymore?
It's a slippery slope. Like right now, after having done it, I would say no, that I probably would never like buy big lots like that. The problem is like, maybe if you had a few like good employees that could do the research and ship everything out and keep up with the influx of stuff, it could be a good idea. But like me doing it by myself, I couldn't keep up with how much I was buying. The problem with having like a guy like that where they're essentially sourcing for you and then selling things to you in bulk, the problem is like you can never say no. Like when they reach out to like, hey, I got some stuff for you, as soon as you say no, they're gonna find someone else to sell it to.
And then you'll be another notch down on the call list.
Right. And then from that point, maybe they'll reach out again a few times. But if you haven't listed the 2,000 buy that you got last time and you say no again, yeah, you're gonna keep going down in terms of like their priority list of like who they reach out to first and stuff like that. And there's always gonna be people who are looking for a guy. So they're not gonna have an issue selling it. But yeah, the problem comes like you're almost like pressured into saying yes every time because the money's there. But like storage becomes an issue. Like I have to get a storage unit. And once you do that and the storage, like the death pile is separate and out of sight, that's like another dangerous place to go also.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I almost got into the, so you can buy like, some people can buy pallets of clothing. Those are like rack pulls from Goodwill or not. The Salvation Army, there's different ones, but it'd be like 30 cents a pound. And then you get 600 pounds of men's, women's, and kids and blankets. But then there's also, I went to the Salvation Army, which is like the headquarters in Dallas. They want to sell you a bale, and a bale of clothing, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like, I don't know, like 12 feet by 4 feet. And it's like a compact banded thing. And when you pop them, it expands like an accordion. And I was like, well, how much is a bale? And they said like 500. And I was like, oh, that's easy. I can make my money back. They're like, but we want you to buy like 10 bales. They're like, we won't even load one bale for you on a trailer. They're like, it's not worth our time because those places are selling to other thrift stores. And it's just another evolution of how these goods are being transferred through society and then ultimately end up in the ports. That's why your Floridas are real nice because they ship those to, third world countries and places like that. So it's a big game. And then the money thing you brought up, a lot of people can barely manage their own household bills. And then when you want to throw in a business where, yeah, you can start with $0 and take your time to build up like some cash flow. But then if you're shelling out $2,000 every couple weeks, I mean, that's everything starts eating into your time and making the money. And then you were still, or you said you were full time, but then you get to the point where you're like, I want to bring this comment up just because Zink was talking about how reselling was a lot, better than the last couple years because he says tech and sports and daily refinement, they had a group where they had thousands of people that they taught at a high level how to resell clothing and then branched off to all these other categories. What I want to say about that is, yeah, that definitely plays an impact. And it's actually kind of like a hot button issue with I believe a YouTuber by the name of Zach put a video out saying like, what are YouTubers not telling like the regular people? And my buddy Brian Roning, if you check his channel out, he made a response video, like a reaction video. And essentially what it is everybody's getting better at this. It's almost at the point where a Goodwill opens at 9 a.m. in my area. Sometimes they roll new racks out. If you go to those racks, there's a good chance you'll find 20, 50, $100 pieces, maybe a handful, maybe none. But if you don't hit those racks and then Josh hits them, those items are gone. So if I go there at 10 a.m., there's no more new items. And then if I go through the whole rack, those have already been picked through. So when I say I'm selling basic items, I have an understanding of those items that are still on the rack that I can pay whatever, if it's the half off color or the 75% off, 25% off. I still know where the margins are. And that's how I feed my business. And I'm not saying it's like anybody can do this in their backyard. I have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to find those stores where the bigger city where it's clustered. And I still have to kind of grind it out. Yeah. So a lot of people are getting better at this. And yeah, it's definitely gotten more difficult. It's still a really good way part-time to make, like, I think $1,000 a month, you could probably do pretty easily, maybe 5 hours a week. And you could have, I mean, $1,000 is $1,000. If you're full-time and you're trying to like make 100,000 profit, that's something that I've talked about on this channel. I don't know how many people are actually doing that. There definitely are some, and some of them are everything sellers, because guess what? Chris and Tech talked about clothing. Tons of people all across the country and world are doing the clothing. There's a lot more items in everything. So if you can figure out the ADH Dave, the Commonwealth Picker, those guys that are buying everything, they're selling on Whatnot live sales, which, you know, I thought of that when you talked about your guy. If you got $2,000 worth of stuff, you sell off the cream of the crop, you could Whatnot the rest of them, but then you're stuck with a 6-hour shipping day of figuring out how to get all these packages out. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but yeah, it's definitely more challenging. And that's why I was kind of even like, oh, he's back in it. Like, what made you want to come back to reselling now that you're
there? Yeah, in terms of, and I hear it now. I see people talking about it like, oh, like, you know, YouTubers are ruining reselling. You know, thrift store, Goodwill prices are going up way too much. I mean, that doesn't bother me at all, because 5-6 years ago when I started, people were saying the same exact thing. And reselling has only, as like a type of business, has only grown from there. And I think like collaboration and sharing knowledge is a good thing, because like when I was doing this full time, like there was no one was talking about like the like standing flat lay setup. Like I was photographing everything on the floor, because that's just, you know, that's just what I came up with in my head. I did try to come up with like makeshift, like standing types of like setups and stuff like that, but it's like nowhere close to like, you know, the whole like foam board type of insulation board or whatever that everyone uses nowadays. So like photographing and listing 10 items on the floor is so much more taxing than like the setup you see everywhere now. Even like the box system for the inventory, like it was a workout. Like if I had a 30-40 pound bin on the top rack, bringing all of that down, like I'm doing like a clean and jerk, just getting it back up, you know. And doing that for like 2 hours straight is just taxing. Like another thing that really like made me think about like trying to figure out if full-time reselling was for me, like physically it was very taxing, because the way I was doing it wasn't optimized in terms of processes. Like there was like a point where it was like really bad, where I was getting back spasms for like 2 weeks, like on and off. Yeah. So I would, but it's like I couldn't take a step back, because I was like, I still need to do listings. So I would like photograph 5 items, and then my back would literally start spazzing. So I would just lie down on the floor staring at the ceiling for like 30 minutes. I'm like trying to calm down. I'm like, there's no way I can do this for the rest of my life.
No way. See, that's crazy, because Thrift of Life, his name's Matt. He has issues. And I mean, I think a lot of that's because he was a blogger, and he probably just lived pretty sedentary life, like a lot of time on the computer, which is it's a serious thing. You know, people's bodies are not, I mean, we're not as active.
Yeah.
The country's heavier. People are just lazier. And yeah, you're talking about lifting boxes. My inventory system's the same as daily refinements. I have the Husky racks. The top row, Randy can't even reach them. And I'm not gonna have her go on a step stool and try to pull down
Yeah,
items.
it's
So like
dangerous.
she'll call out items and I'll pick them and then I'll let her pack them up. But I was actually talking to her this week. I was like, maybe we should just eliminate that top row so that you can reach all of them in case I just want you to ship solo,
Mhm.
which is a pretty big responsibility. It's ultimately like probably the most important one, rather than sourcing, of course, can be pretty important. And but yeah, channel name, I just put it in the chat, Maya. She was asking about your channel name. It's also in the description of the video. Uh, Panda watched Brian's video today, and it's crazy because I was talking to K&M Resell. He was featured 3 times in the video and wasn't even mentioned. And he said he didn't want to be lumped in with those people because he feels he's a little different. And then I was like, I'll make a reaction video. And then Brian just launched one in the middle of the night pretty much. And I was like, dude, right on, man. Because it's important. It's important to hear out everybody. I mean, when you're frustrated, that guy Zach was making hundreds of thousands of dollars selling shoes back whenever the time was good, the getting was good, and then all of a sudden you're not making that money and you're struggling. It's easy to turn the camera on and be like, yeah, these guys that are doing well aren't telling you this. Well,
Mhm.
what they're also not telling you is like the hours they spend researching, the hours they spend sourcing. Like some people just want to show you the good stuff because who's going to click on a video of me? Well, I mean, you guys watch me pack items, but you're not going to watch me um, do all the boring stuff,
Yeah,
and
8-hour live
it's
stream
not,
or
it's not going to get the clicks, and
Right.
trust me, I've tried where I do a video where I'm just researching comps and people don't really want to watch that. So
Yeah.
Panda Mrs. Osborne to Thrift. Yeah, he actually is one of the better everything sellers that I know on YouTube. And one thing he put out, if you guys are an everything seller, is if he was packing up this water bottle, he just puts like 20 laps of bubble wrap both ways and puts it in a box. I was way more pristine with how everything is, and I think you're that way too, Josh. Because if you guys, your videos with the shirts, man, they were the most crisp shirts, the most well lit. And yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you're spending the time doing it, and obviously we're talking about bending over, but once kind of like the best methods came out through Tech and Sports and Chris. I mean, Tech obviously at a high level ran this business the best. Once those started coming out, people realized like, oh, there's better ways to do this, and now that information is out there for everybody. So
Yeah.
you didn't have to think, how can I do this better? Because yeah, I've racked my brains tons of times on how to print the SKU things. Like I don't go to Avery and you can't buy them up to like 35,000. I mean, I haven't found that site. So I took, 3 hours to figure out how to do it, and I put it on YouTube, and now people can watch it in 15 minutes and figure out my 3 hours of
Yeah.
struggle. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, when
YouTube.
I started, it was like my inventory system was a memory game. It was like I had these 2 shelving racks, my, like, little closet, and it was just try to
and,
remember where you put it.
and people use the alphabet for the tubs, and then they
Yeah,
number the
yeah, that
items.
was, like, revolutionary.
Right. And then it was like, well, what happens when you need to relist or list items, but you don't know which ones are missing?
Yeah.
And I just remembered that always, I like instantly was like, well, this is good, but it's not great because I'm still spending time figuring out what SKUs to put on my new items.
Mhm.
Um, Flip It Good just coming in here to say hi. I'm just Key says,
Alright.
yeah, you're not a lot of Josh anymore. But yeah, good to have you
Yeah,
back. Yeah, it's Josh
appreciate it.
K now. He rebranded
Yeah,
for
it's just a big reset button, just starting all over.
clean slate, man. I like
Yeah.
it. Maybe the new platform channels, part of the answer for us anyways. Depop, IG, all these young kids saying that they sell. So yeah, a big thing with that is engagement, influence, getting views. I mean, the world, you'll start to notice too in the next probably like couple years, like a lot of people are going to have videos about products like Amazon does. When you go to a listing, you can see a video. You're going to start seeing that from Walmart. They have a beta in right now where people are doing that. Target's going to have it. Like all these companies want normal people to talk about items because they want to go viral. You go viral on TikTok with an item, that product's going to sell like crazy. So that's the new meta happening. And I still think eBay is a great place for used goods. Amazon is way more challenging. I gave that a shot and I couldn't figure it out. And I was doing too well on eBay to like put more effort into that.
Right.
But the days of selling are always going to exist. The trick is, how much time do you want to put and how much money do you expect to get back? Because it's getting to the point now where, would you say you're putting like maybe 10 hours a week in? Is that kind of how you're doing it? I think your last video you put out, you said 15, maybe 10, 15.
Yeah, I'd say on average like 8 to 10 hours.
Okay. And you can like, what are your goals for the monthly income for 8 to 10 hours? Like,
Yeah, I think eventually if I can build it up to like after everything's said and done, like 1,500 into my bank account every month, I think that's extremely realistic. Right now it's anywhere from like $400 to $600 a month.
Sure.
That's kind of like what it's been averaging out to. But yeah, I think.
And you work full time. I don't know if we mentioned that. Josh has a full time
Yeah.
job now. What do? You used to work at Amazon, right?
Yeah. So when I got out of the military, I worked at Amazon in operations. I was an operations manager there.
But really a spy, right? You're spying on Amazon to figure out if that was better than eBay.
Taking notes for eBay, giving them the inside scoop of all their little robotics technology and stuff like that. No, I did that.
Impressive.
Yeah, I did that probably like 2020. That was like about when like things started really getting into the swing of things for COVID and stuff like that. So I did that for a little bit. I also worked at a nonprofit. It was like a military veterans focused nonprofit. It was for people like getting out of the military,
the transition
into the civilian world. So it was more of like the focus of the program was like a mentorship program, just helping people kind of navigate like what options there are once they leave the military.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety with those folks because they're told what to do. They're secure. I mean, if your finances go low in the military, they send you to classes. They say, hey, this is to help you get out of it. So my brother, as educated as he is with his master's, and he's an officer, he's worried he isn't going to do well afterwards. I'm like, dude, you could get any job pretty much you want. You just never done it. So that's an important task. That's pretty cool.
No, there's absolutely a lot of anxiety because especially like people like your brother who've been in for like 10 plus years. A lot of people, they'll do like the full 20 years and retire. So they're like 40, 45 years old, have never written a resume, never done a job interview. And they're like, I don't know I feel like a college kid that's about to graduate right now. Yeah, I did that. Of course, like gave the whole like full-time entrepreneurship thing a swing. Right now I'm just working, it's operations for an insurance company here.
Yeah, because you said you work from home. Now that's a pretty big deal that, obviously COVID changed the landscape of people working at home, but with reselling, working at home, it goes hand in hand, especially YouTube. You can edit pretty quickly, especially if you're waiting on an email or something like, because some jobs have busy work. Like I worked construction. They did not want to see you sitting around. You had to be moving something, turning a wrench. But there are jobs that, you work hard for an hour and then you chill out for 30 minutes or whatever. And it's insurance. It's an insurance company, I guess. It's hard to say.
It's like a operations for like the annuities department. The company is called Prudential. So their office is like 40 minutes from me in Newark, New Jersey. They also have an office in Philly. So I'll go in the office like once a quarter, but everything else is like
you shave and like put the nice shirt on.
Put on pants.
Well, we got FB here says, I work full-time job plus a lot of hours selling clothing on eBay. I want to go full-time next year and buy a warehouse. And you also paid some money here. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I hope one day to go full-time like you. I appreciate the knowledge you give. It helps a lot. I can definitely tell you this, man. If you're going to go full-time, keep expenses as low as possible. Like a warehouse, I don't know where you live, but I'm paying $600 a month for 3 offices here. In the first place, I paid $300 a month. And it's not a lot for me now, but it's also like, if you're just trying to get it going, keeping costs as low as possible, churning items quickly just to get that money back. Because ADH Dave made a point in a video where it was like the slow nickel fast dime. And, say he's got a $20 profit item. Is he going to wait 6 months for $20 or is he going to sell it on Whatnot for, let's just say 5? He can sell it in one day, make the 5, spend on more items, and he can make that 20 much faster than waiting the 6 months for the $20. Now, I'm more along the lines of if I'm thrifting, I know those Untuck It, Ralph Lauren's, the basic brands, those will sell for $7 in 6 months. And I'm okay having thousands of them because I know somebody may buy multiple. But then if I find that one shirt that I know is like, this is a limited edition or a Gucci shirt, I'm going to wait for most of the money. Like I'll wait a year or two or however long it takes because I'm not going to come across that shirt. The Robert Graham limited edition was a great one. It sold for 300. Those are brand new for $500. I wasn't going to take an offer of 150 in one day. Like I know that shirt's worth a lot, so I was willing to wait. But appreciate the 5, and I hope things go well. Just reach out, man, if you got questions or if you're nervous about something or you're not sure how to set something up. But yeah, just it depends on your expectations. How much do you want to make? And there's different levels to it for sure. There's only so many hours in a day without paying for that help, and you can get there. You can get there. It just depends. There's a lot of hurdles, but it's good that you're trying. I mean, you only get one life, right? So
I think trying it once, honestly, I have absolutely, like, even though I completely flopped, like no regrets. Just learned a lot. I think like what you said in terms of expenses, like I started this when I was in Georgia, and cost of living is completely different here in Jersey. Like I'm like maybe like 30 minutes from New York City. So like my part of Jersey is a bit more expensive. Like down in Georgia, I was paying for a 2-bedroom apartment. It was costing about like $900 a month. Here, 2 bedrooms is like 2,500. So just like living, having a roof over your head itself is completely different. But yeah, I think trying it once, because when I was thinking about it before, like I gave it a go, it was like always in the, like I couldn't think of anything else. Like I would go to work and all I would think about was reselling and of course like YouTube and creating content. I was like, I can't focus right now because all I can think about is like trying to be my own boss, being an entrepreneur. Like it was just driving me crazy. So, you know, kind of scratched the itch, gave it a go for like 2 years. I'm just like, okay, like I did my best. I was making, like, to be like completely transparent, just from like the reselling side, like eBay. I was selling a little bit on Poshmark, but I'd say like 90% of my sales were eBay. Like into like after expenses and everything, like my net profit from eBay is like 30K. And then YouTube, like Amazon affiliate marketing. I was also doing like other random things. Like I would do like Uber Eats during like lunch and dinner hours for like like 2-3 hours a day. So like all of that combined was like another like 20K. So like working for myself, like doing everything, you know, on average, like between those 2 years, it was like $45,000-$50,000. Maybe in Georgia that could have worked, like if I was paying $900 for rent, but just like living here, I was like tapping into my emergency savings, which that's exactly what it's for, but it just wasn't. It was causing me a lot more stress. Even though like I had that cushion, like starting to go into it, I was like, oh, like I don't know, like how I was like calculating like if I'm not gonna grow anymore, if I like hit a wall, like this is how.
Like, is it ramen every meal for the next?
Oh yeah, it was about to get there. No, but yeah, I mean,
understanding your budget is everything.
For sure. I went into it without a good plan either. I was like, I went into it with a can-do mentality. That was my plan.
Well, with the Army Strong built into you,
yeah.
Like, you were gonna make it happen. The thing about all that is, if you're leaving a nice corporate position or a place where you're making a lot of money, I always say if you're number one in a company, so like, and what I mean by company is not like a Fortune 500, but if you work a construction company and you're the lead guy, you might be making 20, 25 an hour. And that might be really good. If you think, oh, well, I'm working 40 hours, I can do that reselling because in 10 hours I made, you know, whatever money. That doesn't equate hour for hour. Like, it just doesn't work. So I think if you're not in the family of a business, you're probably not going to get very high. If you're not the number one guy, you probably don't have the skills to, like, you know, make that money. You can always get another job like that if reselling doesn't work. That's the thing. If you understand your skills in the workforce, and you're like, well, if I can't get a job, like I was making 15 an hour and they were paying for health insurance, But as a copier technician, the guy that was sitting next to me that had been there 20 years, he was at like 1850. So like, what am I gonna do? Work
Right.
and
Yeah. There's
and
no
my
life.
boss is a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire. So once I
Yeah.
finally started understanding how money works in business now, if you've never worked for anybody, like if you're in high school or college and you've gone to school, but you've never actually worked a business, there is a lot of benefits to putting some hours in and understanding how, oh, so as an employee, I'm just my hour time is worth 15, but I'm making my boss 150 an hour. Like if you don't understand how that works running your own business, you won't understand that like the time I spend thrifting is worth way more than the time I spend photographing and shipping. So I can pay somebody to do that as long as I understand, I'm making this much per month and then I have all these expenses. And then it comes to like, you want to find that place where you're able to put some money back. That means you're successful. If you're just breaking even, working for yourself, having zero extra money, there is freedom. There's freedom in like, I can take a nap during the day. My son was sick. If you guys have noticed, I haven't put a video out in a while, haven't done a live. My son was sick 2 days last week and 2 days the week before. I can have the flexible schedule. My wife used all her days for her grandpa when he was in hospice, and she has no days. So she'll lose her job if she keeps taking off. I have to pretty much take 0 days on eBay. Well, other than shipping items, of course, and trying to knock listings out at night. But that's a benefit I have for working for myself. I can take my son to the clinic. I can care for him when he's sick. That is a benefit of working for myself. But you want to be able to get to a place where you're not struggling eating ramen and tuna because you're like not making any money. But
nothing wrong with it once in a while, but that mercury poisoning is going to get you one day.
I struggle between spending $2.79 for a monster and like $2 for a prime, which are terrible. And I'm just like, today's Friday. I'm going to spend the 79 cents and get the monster. Like, and I'm doing well. Like, so I don't know. I'm just it's good to be cheap though. In some of this stuff.
Yeah. I used
take
to
back
with
America.
energy drinks.
Yeah. No, it's a problem.
So when I was in the military, like throughout my 20s, I would wake up. So we would have to do like morning PT, like some kind of like group workout.
Sure.
And then usually it's just like a short run. And then a lot of us would like lift right afterwards. So we would take, a scoop of pre-workout, and then a group of us would go eat breakfast together, drink a cup of coffee. And then I would have a monster to get me through until lunch. And then of course you have like food coma after you eat lunch. So you need the afternoon pick me up monster. And I was telling myself that I was drinking like the white monsters. I was like, 0 calories.
I'm a white monster guy.
Yeah, it's like 0 calories, no sugar, it's fine. I actually I went to the ER once because I was driving back home after work, and I started getting like heart palpitations.
Yeah, I was gonna
beating so fast. I was tunnel visioning, so I like pulled over. I was like, oh my god, I'm having a heart attack. I'm gonna die. So I called 911. I was like, I'm having a heart attack.
For real?
Yeah, I called an ambulance. I was like, I'm having a heart attack. I can't breathe. So they came, and then they like ran all the tests, and then they're like, you're fine. By then, like everything kind of calmed down. But yeah, kind of just asked me questions, and then it came to the
Can you imagine like death by monsters? Everyone's like, what happened to Josh? They're like, I
was doing it for like 5-6 years, no problem drinking that much caffeine.
I looked it up.
The doctor asked me, he was like, you need to cut back on that.
Yeah, for a man, it's 600 milligrams a day, and a woman, it's 400. Yeah. That's the kind of average
probably
number.
Doing closer to like 1,000.
See, and the only time I felt that with my heart was I was drinking like 4 Mountain Dews a day, and that was
Mountain Dew. The caffeine in that is crazy too.
Yeah, right now I actually do 32 ounces, and I do the Gatorade, and I also put a half scoop of pre-workout. Okay. So that's like what I do instead of a monster. But on those long sourcing days, if you guys have seen those videos, I usually drink 2 or 3 during that day. Like I've kind of limited it some, but it's like, I mean, driving an hour and a half. Yeah. First, I wake up at like 5:30. I come here, I ship items, I eat breakfast. I haven't been eating lunch, which has helped not having that slowdown. But instead of lunch, I just do caffeine and like an apple or something, and it's tough. But we got Take It Back America. Crazy name. It says, who are we taking it back from? I thought we're pretty good. It says, what are you doing for summer slowdown? My sales have tanked. Honestly, I've never been affected by summer slowdown just because everything is, the stuff I bought today and listed may not sell for 6 months, but the stuff I bought 6 months ago sell today. So every day is super consistent when you constantly feed the same type of product. Now, obviously seasonal items, you'll have spikes, and, during tax return, everyone had a little bit better sales, holidays, if you're in certain categories. But now for clothing, it's really been very consistent. Like $500-$700 a day is kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So, FB says, that's what I'm scared of. First, want to pay everything and have low expenses. Yeah. So if you have debt, I would suggest trying to get out of debt. Some debt is good, but, house debt's kind of like, what are you going to do? But if you have new cars, things like that, which I just bought a new truck. I'm going to talk about on the channel, guys. I found a truck on Facebook. It's $12,000. Chevy Silverado, 1500, 54,000 miles, 2012 Z71. Tremendous deal. The woman liked me so much that so many people were hitting her up. I was kind of late to the party, a few hours, and she said, I'll save it for you. So really thankful for Ann and that truck. But yeah, I'll show it off for you guys because I bought it when I started.
Sounds about right for Texas. You're in Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm in North Texas. So I didn't need 4-wheel drive, but this one has the off-road package. And the thing about having a truck, like, if you guys look at my early videos before I got more followers, I bought, like, of course, the first thing I was reselling part-time. So I was making that, $15 an hour. Reselling, I think I made like $25K, part-time. And then I bought a truck. I bought a $35,000 truck. And I was like, how my eBay store is going to pay for this truck. I had $500 payments. Well, it's a lot different when you can just give someone $12,000 cash and be no payments. Like, it's a big deal. But with that truck, I can pick up lawns if I want to mow a lawn, which I don't do. But if I cut a tree or help my dad, I've even gone to thrift stores where somebody's buying something and I say, hey, I'll haul that for you and charge them $40. Like, I'm not above that. So trucks have such a versatility. Filling up that gas tank's not great. I still got the Civic. I have a Honda Civic hatchback. I bought brand new. I actually traded that old truck, the 2019 Ford, for the Civic during the perfect time when they were paying a lot for used trucks. So that was like an even swap. And that's your 35 miles a gallon. My business,
you're gonna use that for your Dallas trips.
Yep. And then the trucks for in town for projects. And
that makes sense.
we're moving. My wife, she actually got her grandpa's house. So she spent a lot of the inheritance on remodeling it, and we're going to move there. So having the truck helps. And then I'm going to rent out my current house that we're still paying on. So that's going to be cool, being like a bit of a landlord. And I know I'll need the truck for just, even just mowing that lawn. And unless we make them do it, I don't really know how we're going to do it, but
you say you bought it for $12K?
It was $12K. So it was a 2012.
That's not $80K. So I'd say that you got to.
I almost bought a $50,000 Tundra, and I would have had to borrow like half. And I was like, I don't need that much truck. And anyway, this truck, anything, 2012, they don't have the auto stop feature, and it has the V8. Like, most truck companies are not putting V8s anymore. So if you're looking for a truck, the 2021 Tundra with the V8, the 5.3, that's going to be the truck you want, in my opinion, because you get Toyota's stamp of, reliability. But most of these trucks are losing the V8, and they got the V6, with the turbos, and they have a lot of problems. But I'm not a truck guy. I just watched like 20 hours of truck videos before deciding to buy this one. But it's hard to find used trucks, like anything that new. And it was an old lesbian couple, and they just never used it. It was like low miles. They never pulled nothing. I was going to spend $6,000 on a farm truck with like 170,000 miles, and it was pulling a truck and trailer with 2 horses. And I looked at the ratings for the weight of that, the estimated rate. It was exactly what that truck could handle.
No,
and I was like, dude, I am not buying this beat up truck just because I want to have a bed for moving stuff. But anyway, Frito Potato, ridiculous name, says hi. Very adorable dog though.
So
Brian says Orange Monster. We'll just get rid of that one. I like white. I'll go original, full sugar if I'm feeling a little saucy.
Ooh.
And then I like the blue one. They don't sell it very often. It comes in the red, white, and blue pack from like Sam's. There's something about that one that they don't. You know which one? They don't have it in the store, in the coolers and stuff.
At least where I was in Georgia, I would see the blue ones. I mean, this was like probably like 5 years ago.
I knew. And I actually looked, if you want to sponsor, like if you want Monster to sponsor you, I think you need a minimum of like, it's either 50 or 100K followers just to get they're on their radar. Yeah. So not happening anytime soon. You're not sure. A lot of people have higher dollar items that are not moving right now. I think a lot of it is economy. I mean, and then also some people are going for just cheaper things too. I mean, Temu has actually been making some money, and their stuff is, you know, a little lower end. You're at 1,000 items. Yeah, people ask me full time, how many items do you need? And I don't know what your opinion on it, but I think a lot of it is how much money you have coming in, and if you can replace
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah. I think how much you're selling is a much better metric because I've seen people have 5,000 listings and they're selling 1,000 items every 90 days
Mhm.
versus I've seen like 500 listing stores selling the same amount. So
Yeah.
I would say almost like the $500-800 or 500-800 listing store selling the same amount, like 1,000 listings a day.
Of
That's like
100% sell through.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's infinitely better because even if you have like 5,000 listings that aren't moving, that's even if you're picking it up for $1 a piece, all your items, that's $5,000 of invested inventory that's just sitting there doing nothing for you. Versus you can
Yeah.
just kind of churn and burn and keep flipping and double tripling your money over and over and over.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is it, and then if you're paying for that storage, you know, it's one thing if you have a spare
Yeah,
room in your house, but if you're paying for a storage unit and you don't need it, that's a thing. I remember it was Cincinnati Picker actually. He showed one of his screenshots and he had like 400 something items listed with like 1,800. So I was like, how is that even possible? But it's like, dude, you're putting out stuff, pricing
yeah,
it right, and
right.
yeah, I think if you're making, I don't know what the percentage should really be. It really just comes down to your bills. But I think you need to be making profit a few hundred a week
Mhm.
at least. I mean, if you're just breaking even, because when my credit card bill comes, I pay it twice a month. It's a big chunk, and I'm like, dang, did I make enough? But it's like, I know I did, but I'm also accepting offers all the time. Like if that shirt I bought
Right.
for $4 or $5, an offer comes in for like 8 plus, I do 8.99 shipping. Like I accept it almost every day because
Yeah.
I know that item can be replaced instantly, and I want that
Right.
little bit of cash because it does add up. Like people always say, it's not worth all the work you do because you're only making this much money. But I mean, I made plenty of money to
Right.
survive and
Yeah.
blow
No,
it on
I'm
a
with you. I
truck.
used to do that all the time. Like, um, I would take. I still try to take offers if they come in, as long as in my head. I mean, reasonable is different than everyone, but the way I thought of it and think of it is if the item's been sitting for over 6 months,
Okay.
I'm confident that like the person, like the knowledge I have right now, like I can source better than the person who sourced that item 6 months ago. So I'd rather just get that money back and then use the knowledge I have now and then buy a better item that I know is going to flip better. So it's kind of
Another
like
thing is
cutting the
flawed.
losses, knowing that now you're going to source something better than that item that's been
Yeah.
sitting there for for
And
however
it's
long.
not even cut law. I mean, you're making profit. Yeah,
Right.
and you're
Yeah. Yeah.
rolling
Yeah.
it into new
Most likely
items.
you're still making like 5-10 bucks still. So
Yeah. And see, I had a jacket I found at a what is it, like a Plato's Closet. It was $35. It was a North Face moto jacket and it had a flaw. It was missing one of the snaps on the front.
mhm.
And it's a $300 jacket in, everything working condition. And someone offered 125 after like a few days. And I was like, well, I'm not going to find this jacket again, but I spent the 35. I may not get another offer. This flaw I did
Yeah.
not see. Like, I mean, so I took the money. I mean, that's a great, it's a great little chunk of money. And then the
Yeah.
item's gone. And that one chunk of money is probably the next thrift store I go to. That's the
Right.
profit to buy all those
Yeah.
items. So that's yeah. And all that like critical thinking of like, should I not? Like, you're not gonna. It's rare to find somebody on YouTube explaining what to do because their situation's different. Like
Yeah.
where I live, the cost of living is extremely low. Like we're paying a 15-year note on that house we're in now. It's 1,300 a month, and
Mhm.
that house, we bought for 89 grand. Like it's like that's a 1,500 square foot house. Like you can't find that in other areas. And then it's like, how are they? They're lying. Like how are they doing this? It's like, nah, dude, the situations are different. I have no
Right.
debt.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's hard to compare. And I try to be transparent and try to explain it is okay to make $500 a month doing this part-time or whatever.
Mhm.
Like if you're trying to make 50, 60, 70, 80K, like it's not a walk in the park. You're not gonna just walk into all the Goodwills nowadays. And Goodwills, like all of them are more sophisticated. Like they're
Yeah.
definitely like, and I don't throw shade at tech, but when he made his money, he had the knowledge and the know-how to see the future of like, I'm buying jerseys for nothing at these stores.
Mhm.
Like, I have a guy who can find them for me. Like, yeah, if you put what you know now 12 years ago, you're gonna make a lot of money. And then he got out of it because guess what? It's like it's a lot harder now. He may have been working the same effort for the same money and was like, you know what? Let's just dial this back. I made the money. He's got multiple businesses. It's a smart move. I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
keep doing it. I'm at the point now
Life
where
is just like that though. You just pivot as things happen and things are going to change. It's inevitable. Like you do the best you can and then you know, every 5, 6 years you kind of have to do like a whether it's like a mini pivot in your life or you have to do like a hard reset.
right.
I think that's just like part of living and growing and aging.
It's I and you know, like they say most businesses fail in 5 years. And I think that's more so because what they found works if they don't evolve it and they're
Right.
underwater trying to balance
Yeah.
it. And then in 5 years, it's different. It's a whole different
Yeah.
landscape.
You have to
eBay
make
changes all the
adjustments.
time. I mean, even the way you list has changed like over the last couple years.
Mhm.
They moved around the thing with the deleting the photos from the listings. You got to click right, go left to check mark all, and then click right again. It used to just be a double click.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
dude, yeah, and it's like little stuff like that. Um, yeah, it all matters. So, like, live selling's picking up. Maybe you go live selling, or sourcing's harder. Like, oh, why is sourcing hard? Because thousands of people watch how to do it well, and then you're late to the party. Like I wish I could garage sale every Saturday, but I have a toddler. Like, I have a wife that doesn't necessarily want to garage sale at 7 a.m. with me. So it's like, well, I could leave the son with her, and then it's like, it's work. They say like watching a kid is fun and loving, but dude, he is wild. He is a
Yeah.
wild. He's just
How,
like
how old
he's
is he?
he's a year and a half, I think. He's
Oh,
born
okay.
November
So he
2022.
like
So,
just started like running
oh,
around and stuff.
yeah. Once they can stand up and walk,
Yeah.
like it's everything. It's a game over, dude. Like I was talking on the phone. I made a Facebook Marketplace deal. I
Yeah.
got this panel dolly thing that I was selling. I turned for a second to talk on the phone. He knocked over my Diet Dr. Pepper, spilt it on him on the floor. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, what happened? I was like, dude, my kid. He's like, I
He's
get
just
it. And it is a
smiling like,
split
what's
second.
wrong?
And then you worry about him falling off the couch. Like he likes to stand and jump on the couch. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and then if you put him down on the ground, guess what? He screams. So it's like you got to play with them. It's a tough thing. So whenever, if you got kids at home and you're like, well, I want to do this full time, like be prepared. There's a lot to handle. You only have so many hours. Even right now, like my wife's like, hey, like after you're done, like let's go out to the park or do something to like
Yeah.
keep him entertained. So
Yeah. You have to.
let's
But
see
yeah,
what
I
else
think a
we
lot
got.
of people get discouraged just from like watching how other people do it. But
They make it
I'm
look
with you
easy,
on that.
right?
Like the way you have to do it is you have to like expose yourself to as many people as possible and different ways people are doing things, and you just have to like take tidbits of what all these different people are doing, and then just kind of like mash it together and make it work for whatever situation you're in.
So are you now that you're posting again? Like I think I asked you before,
Yeah,
but what was the driver to be like, I'm putting a video out? Because if you guys haven't done it, it takes a little bit of like, all right, let me put the work in. I hope it's good. And then you gotta, when you put publish, you could have put more work in it, but you're
yeah.
like, I gotta put it out. Let's see what the people say.
No,
What
I
made
think
you get back into the game?
so. I mean, we'll start back to like when I stopped uploading, but
Okay.
like the intention when I stopped uploading, like I never like announced it, like I'm done with YouTube or whatever. Like I mean, at that point, I was extremely burnt out. Like the content, it was. I mean, at that point, I was creating content for like probably like almost 3 years, and it came to the point where I was running out of ideas,
Mm,
and it just felt like a job ultimately
yeah.
because it was very much following like the same structure in terms of like, hey, let's go to the thrift. Here's what we found. Exciting, yay, woohoo! And then the second type of video would be like, here's what sold, here's what I shipped
Right.
out. And I would sprinkle in like little like like creative types of videos there, but those like we'll call them like how we have like bread and butter clothing items. Those are like the bread and butter YouTube videos.
Yeah, the what sold.
And yeah, and it came to the point where I was like, I don't want to film myself while shipping. Like I, it's slowing me down. Like I could finish all of this in like 20 minutes, but it's taking me an hour because I have the camera on. And it was just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, I even like at the thrift store, I think I've heard you mention it too, like thrifting with the camera on, like almost like doubles the time of sourcing because
Oh, absolutely, dude.
yeah, it
Absolutely.
kind of hurts your flow too. So
Yeah.
it came to the point where I was like, I want to do, and I try to do this a little bit. Like I would try to incorporate just like life stuff, but
Sure.
like even though like as you're creating it, it feels repetitive. A lot of times the people watching it, they don't feel that. They want to see that type of content, and as soon as you change it up on them, like you show them like a clip of you like
Go on
taking a
vacation or
taking a trip to like the city or something and showing them what you ate. They're all like thumbs down, like stop,
oh,
stop,
dude.
stop,
Tell
unsubscribe.
me about it,
So
dude.
yeah, I tried it a few times, got like not as good feedback. The videos would get like barely 1,000 views. I was like extremely discouraged. I was like, I just need a short break from YouTube. Let me just take like 2 weeks off. And then the 2 weeks was like extremely refreshing. And then the 2 weeks turned
Yeah.
into a month, turned into 6 months, et cetera, et cetera.
The
But yeah,
dust is
I mean, I've been
packing up
thinking
on
about it. Yeah, I mean, this time around, I'm definitely just gonna create content in terms of like this is what I want to show, and a lot of it is gonna incorporate just random things I do throughout the week. Because right now, like we were talking about earlier, like reselling is like we'll say like upwards of like 10 hours probably.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe even less. So there's a lot that's going on in my life that's also, that isn't reselling. So um, just incorporating stuff like that just to keep it fresh instead of feeling like I have to follow this structure of video. Because like even creating like a what sold video, I would sit down, I would just like stare at like my list of items I want to share, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It was
I
like
think it
after
was
3 years of creating what sold videos, I'm like, I don't want to do
I
this.
think it was Lonnie with Shed Flips. Is that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
is
used
that
to be
his
the rock
channel? Shed
clip.
Flips,
Yeah,
Lonnie?
yeah.
I
Now
remember one because now they're back into it. Him and his wife have found their flow again and they're just like uploading. But there was
yeah,
one that was like the last time, and he said something like, and you could hear it in his voice. He has a great speaking voice. He said something like, I've said everything I've needed to say about these sales. I remember thinking, like, I mean, dude,
yeah.
you're an everything
The best
seller, and
part, especially
I'm selling
like when
Ralph
you're
Lauren button
selling
downs
like
every day.
sales
Like,
stuff.
it's
Yeah,
that's such a good, yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
and then the other thing is like you do all your what sold process or your business processes. Like
Mhm.
I've done 4 different photo setups. Now I'm at my last photo iteration.
Yeah,
It's like those are different videos that are informative and good, but um, if I try to be creative, which is what YouTubers, it's like a thing you want to do. You want to be creative, and
right.
then it doesn't get the views. So imagine working a job for 3 hours and you make $8 or $11. Like
Mhm.
that's painful. And then you start thinking like, is this what am I even doing? And then
Right.
I put out a 9-minute video talking about some drama and it made like $200. So it's all like, oh, it's like if it bleeds, it leads, right? On the
Yeah,
new stuff. So it's you don't want to be disingenuous, but some people are doing YouTube just to make some money, and then others are doing it because they love making videos. But to master being creative, a good quality video, informative, what people want to see, and make tons of views, like it's a very challenging thing. That's why you got to respect some of the people that are doing so well. But a lot of times they have like not necessarily a script, but they have
mhm.
an absolute flow to like beginning, middle, end.
Right,
This is what
right,
everyone wants to see. It's like a TV series. Some TV series last one season, some last 20 years, and it's like they have a pattern of how they
right.
do it. But then,
Yeah,
yeah, it becomes an absolute job. And a lot of people quit, 9 to 5 stuff because they don't like jobs. They like to
yeah,
just do whatever they want. So it's a very
yeah.
tricky thing. But I'm glad you're uploading, man, because um, a lot of people may not realize, but when you did your first what solds, like I think you might have been one of the early ones to put sound effects, like when the solds popped up. Like I'm telling you, your
Yeah.
stuff was clean. And I remember thinking like, yeah, it's cool to see these people hold up the item in their garage when they're shipping and talk about it, but like you have the screenshot, you know, like there's the
I know
sound.
it was revolutionary. No, but like the video editing piece, that's probably my favorite part about creating videos. Because
It's a little therapeutic,
storytelling,
right?
yeah, storytelling is a big part of YouTube. Because if you just kind of if you just turn the camera on, just throw like random things together without even like that beginning, middle, end, I feel like it's almost necessary just to have some kind of structure.
Right.
But being able to kind of bring it to life, like in the editing software, is like I feel like that's where the fun is at for me. Um, so that's definitely
I feel
we
that. I feel
yeah,
that.
yeah. And I mean, like me and like Harry Tornado started around the same time, and
Mhm.
that was like something we would always talk about, like behind the scenes, like, hey, like we need to figure out ways to make the content a lot more engaging, rather than just like, hey, like here's what's sold. The problem is like the video editing part takes a lot of time. So when you start becoming like dependent on the YouTube money, and you're like forcing yourself to upload like 2, 3 times a week,
Yeah.
the only way to do it is like quickly piecing together a what's sold video, like quickly piecing together
Just to
like,
get something out.
yeah,
Yeah.
here's what I picked up at the thrift, here's a haul video. And forcing yourself to do that like 2, 3 times a week, it gets old really quick. So yeah, I think just trying to be a little bit more creative and not like forcing myself to stick to a strict uploading schedule. Like if there isn't a good video that week, then I'm gonna give it another week to try to be a bit more creative and piece together something.
Yeah, that's really good. I think the editing is a lot of, if you don't do video editing, then it's hard to kind of fathom, but the creativity of the edit is like very unique. If you were to pay somebody to try to make it the same that you want to do it, if like they'll miss some of the beats and stuff where you're
Yeah,
like, well, I feel like putting a little ring with a glow right over the thing. Like,
yeah,
it's just and yeah, it's fun. I find it pretty therapeutic. I do a lot of the editing at night. Um, I kind of zone out and just kind of do that.
yeah,
But yeah, I'll run a live because a live's a lot easier. But when I'm shipping, usually I do it on Sundays. It'll be like 70 items. That takes way longer than it should. But
yeah,
I like engaging with people, and then that video will make me, I don't know, 20 to 50 bucks maybe. And it's like that's good money. That's
yeah.
25 an
You're just
hour.
kind of
Like,
like hanging out with people in the chat.
yeah, and it's that water cooler talk. I mean, a lot of people work alone, right? A lot of these people
Mhm.
full time, or they're retired, or they just want to hear people talk about stuff all
Yeah,
about reselling. Like they enjoy it, and that's why I like bringing some of the lives to it. I like bringing people like you on that are similar situations and experienced. I think it gives people a good outlook on like, um, I got some of those pieces. Like I can make this happen too. Because at the end of the day, like you're just regular people. A lot of people get like I thought I'd be a little more starstruck, to be honest. Like I was a little nervous. Like leading up to this, I was like, oh man, I remember because when you mentioned when we did the Walmart situation, I emailed you. I didn't even have my Instagram set up stuff. So I emailed you and emailed back, and I was just like, yes. I was talking to my wife. I was like, he's got 4,500 subs, and he emailed me back. Can you believe that? Like, this dude's famous.
yeah. I
Um,
was big time.
yeah, but yeah, it's just we're just regular people that figured out
Yeah,
how to kind of capture things. But yeah, as far as like the virality and making videos good, it seems like you got to have a fight at a garage sale. You got to have something crazy happen. Someone to say. Usually, it's those organic um, human interactions. If you can capture it on video, like you're good.
yeah,
Like, you got something there. But
yeah,
if you're just going to a thrift store looking at a bunch of old clothes and you find a $50 item, like it's a little hard to hype that up as like the feature of
right,
today's video.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy, man.
No, yeah, I think
Well,
I'm gonna try to do more like just incorporate life stuff. Like if I'm gonna work out that day, then maybe I'll incorporate like a minute of that. If I go eat, some
let's go 30 seconds. Dude. I put some workout clips in one of mine, and people are like, "I didn't come here to watch you
yeah,
lift
no,
weights," and I'm
that's
just
it
like,
though.
"Oh,
That's where I struggled like back like 2-3 years ago because I would try to incorporate stuff like that and it would get horrible feedback. It's like we're not here to listen or like watch you do that.
Does that get to you a
I'm
little
like,
bit?
oh, I'm
Does it
sorry.
get to you? People's expectations and the
Yeah,
comments?
yeah,
Is it a little bit? I think it's hard not to be affected by it. I mean, mainly
it's
with
hard.
me, it's the shorts. I post Facebook reels and Instagram stuff, and those are some just terrible. Like a lot of it is the whole "you're the reason good will raise price." Like they have no clue how any of this works.
Right.
But some of those are just so rude and nasty, and you're just kind of like, "What am I doing, man? Like,
Yeah.
why
No,
am I like
that definitely got
subjecting
to me
myself
too.
to the?" I think a lot of it comes down to like, well, and then you say like, I'm not going to see these people, but like I get recognized at stores sometimes, so like they might see you. That's
Yeah.
another thing too. Do you ever get recognized? Does that happen before
I
the
I
store?
used to, yeah, I used to. I mean, these days, not really. I feel
Sure.
like there's like a small circle of people who used to watch my content versus there's like a new wave of resellers now. But I set up like a local New Jersey reselling like Facebook group back in the day, and we would do like meetups like every couple of months. Like we would just all go to a diner, get some
Oh,
food,
that's
and
cool,
then
dude.
yeah,
I
and then
thought
we
about
just go to a thrift store. I mean, we would all pick up maybe like one or two items, or like someone would find like an item, give it to me, or I would find something and give it to someone,
Oh,
stuff like
dang, so
that.
y'all had a little,
It,
like, round table
yeah,
with the whole,
yeah, it was just kind of like there's like a
asinine
group of like
crowd.
10 or 12 of us
That's pretty
in
dope.
that Facebook group. But yeah, stuff like that was cool, and that came from YouTube. Like they were all people who, watch my videos, and then in the comments they'd be like, "Hey, like I'm in Jersey, whatever. Maybe we'll run into each other." And then like we ran into each other one day, or stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
So it's safe to say you had the first reselling conference,
Oh yeah, oh
under
yeah,
eBay. You beat out all the, like, reseller meetup
oh
stuff
yeah.
because you had the New Jersey
State
Facebook
level,
group.
yeah.
That's cool. I've noticed that I've wanted to go to some, and now that I'm doing YouTube, like I may need to look out and see if I can buy one of those tickets and go. I was gonna go to the Trash to Cash one. I love those guys, man. I watch them every week because I drive an
I
hour and
love
a half.
those.
So, like I
Yeah,
need to have some long form content,
yeah,
and I was gonna go, and I just couldn't make the trip. But I hope they have another one. I may go, but I don't do a lot of the yard sale stuff, So I mean, I'll just
yeah,
be there
yeah,
hanging out. But I think it's cool to a lot of my friends are on YouTube and stuff, and I think it's good to be able to like just reach out and talk about, it's the same stuff, right? Like we're doing the same stuff. It is a narrow thing. Like when you talk to regular, a lot of times I tell people what I do, especially at the bank, right? I went through the 12,000. They asked me like what I do for a living, and I'm like, why? Like I was like, I do this, and they're like, well, we have to update it when you withdraw this much, and I'm just like, it's my money and stuff, and it's like they don't
yeah.
understand. I'm like, I
Right.
sell used clothes for a living, and I do YouTube, and they're just like, and then a lot of times I tell people, and they give you this look of like, you got to do what you can to get by. And I'm kind of like, well, how much money are you making, man? Like maybe I'm not the one, maybe you're the one getting by.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a very like, it's going to a thrift store used to be a stigma thing. You were poor. You couldn't afford to buy
Mhm.
new clothes. Now
Right.
it's like cool, but
Yeah.
the older
Finding
generation
the
still looks at it as
vintage.
like, oh,
Yeah.
you sell, you're like a gypsy person who's just out there selling
Yeah.
crap to people pretty much. So
Yeah. Honestly,
have
that's
you,
like another piece I kind of miss too, though, of YouTube. Like, of course, you're gonna run into the bad nuggets who kind of
Mhm.
cause drama and stuff like that. I mean, drama in the YouTube land has always been a thing, but you have to find your little circle and find the people that you trust and talk to behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, that was definitely something that was like a highlight of YouTube. Like the people I met, the other creators, um,
Mm.
running into viewers, and then eventually like seeing them like even just like outside of just coincidentally running into each other, like planning to meet up and stuff like that. So stuff like
Yeah.
that is super cool that that can come out of just creating content.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty amazing thing just to be able to connect like we are right now.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing. Let's see what Brian's got to say. Brian says the problem with incorporating life stuff is you're now always thinking about content all the time. Do you think that's worth it? You struggle with that. So I guess basically, yeah. Do you think it's like, oh, I should pull my phone out and
Yeah.
record my son at the Easter egg hunt or something,
I think it has to be a little forced. Like
Mm.
there's a fine line between like just whipping out your camera and then just hoping to catch something versus like here's like I know I'm gonna do this on Sunday. Let's say like you're taking your son or like your family's going to the park, whatever.
Right.
You want to
Yeah.
incorporate something of that, like having a general idea of what you're about to do like the week ahead, and then like, hey, I want to incorporate something like this into the video. I think you have to plan it a little bit and then incorporate it that way. Because yeah, it'll be hard to just like have the camera rolling 24/7 and just like hoping to catch something. But yeah, I think that's
I
part of the whole like storytelling piece of YouTube. Like
yeah.
when you're like planning your next video, you're like, here's like the point I'm trying to hit home, like the main like message, if you will. And then here's like the other, here's a supporting cast, and one of the supporting cast can be like a life aspect clip. But I think you have to know like what you want to incorporate in terms of that like life clip.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna ask, and I have a point or a take on this. I don't know if a lot of people do, but I think that with how AI and everything is with that, I think the more video and audio data that you have, like a YouTube channel or your Facebook, whatever, I think they're gonna be able to take everything that you've said and incorporate it into like a avatar that has your library of your experiences in life. So then
Yeah.
generations later can ask and tap into that person and pretty much have a conversation. I do think that's a thing
Yeah. I mean, that's
that could
pretty much
develop.
Chat GPT. He just has a
Yeah, it'd be
library of random things, and
yeah, you can
you're kind
YouTube
of
the
able to
channel, or
fit
you
it
can type
together.
your channel. You can say, "Hey, what is Lot of Josh? What is this video about? Give me a
Mhm.
summary." And it'll
Yeah.
give you a summary. I look at it more of like, great 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 grandkid can ask me what was the time like during COVID, and whatever
Yeah.
data
Yeah.
I've said on it, it'll spit that out or something. But and they
Yeah.
may not even need my input. It may just create it for him. It may just be some
Right.
random uh generated answer that's not
Yeah.
true. That could be it too. So I want to have the
Yeah.
authentic stuff out. As far as the clips, Brian, one thing I'm thinking about is like my wife likes to have like I make some reels for my wife, like my son's first haircut. I made a reel about that. Well, like I'm gonna film that anyway. Just get used to like any event that's happening, pull your phone out, do some video, and then maybe put a 5-second clip, and
Yeah.
just like throw it in the video because people do want to see that you're like, you're an all right person and not just
Yeah.
a random reseller scumbag like a lot of people think. Like you have a
No.
heart, you
Yeah.
know.
I think that's the big thing too. Like, don't get discouraged by how much footage you have versus what you include in the video. Because the
Mhm.
last video, so my like sister ran a marathon, so we all went into New York City. I wanted to incorporate a lot of stuff from there, so I was like filming throughout the day, and I had like maybe like an hour of footage, and
Right.
what made it into the video was like 15 seconds of all
Yeah.
that. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, but I think just having that footage in your files too, like
I think if
you
you would
never
have
know
got a
what you
clip
want
of
to do
her
with that.
tying her shoe, like throw a little clip, be like, my sister's running a marathon, and then you have
Yeah.
the vertical clip of the shoe being tied and then her running past. Like that's all you would need to
Yeah.
get like some
Right.
visual,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then
But
it's also like, I mean, does she have any videos? So it's like you could, as a video creator, you can help people with that. And we're totally
yeah.
off of reselling topic. I don't know how many people are just like, oh, I'm here to learn about reselling, but
Oh
we're
yeah.
just trying to give you we're giving you a little insight into both me and Josh K over
Yeah.
here, and kind of give you a behind the scenes on like this is
Yeah.
kind of what it's like what goes through our heads a lot,
Right.
as much
I
as
think
we
that's
love to hear.
an important part of being a reseller and sharing kind of your content on YouTube though, because like the thing that burnt me out was the repetitiveness of reselling
Mhm.
content. Um, and I think there even like as I'm creating and starting back up on YouTube, there's gonna be part of my content that I have to incorporate. Like I'm gonna have to show what I'm thrifting. I'm gonna have to show what I'm selling.
Right.
I think that part, once you've kind of established yourself in like the reselling space for YouTube, like that's almost like the baseline, but the layers you add on top of that, like you as a person, like your personality, like that's gonna be like the differentiating factor between you, like your reselling channel versus someone else's, because
Very true.
we're all kind of picking up the same stuff. We're all kind of selling the same stuff. That part, like, if you just want to strictly learn brands, like, you could watch whatever, really. But
Yeah,
ultimately, a lot of people kind of watch
absolutely.
you for like just who you are.
Yeah, I try to make I used to do this whenever I was like just starting the videos. I would try to make the first minute like as creative as possible. Like I did the drone on my last sourcing
Yeah.
day. Like, why not? I mean, the drone was total splurge, did not need to buy it, but I also do a reels
Hey,
for
look,
like real estate agents.
business
Like the
investment.
drone. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you do like a real estate intro. Like I used to just kind of walk up to the house like I do on
Yeah,
the thrift store ones. Now I can kind of fly to the house and approach it. So
yeah,
eventually I'll use it more, but it's I try to be creative, and I forgot that's what I liked most about the videos. It's great to help people. I mean, everyone needs help, and you're putting it out there, but yeah, that oh, this is cool. I can make this like a cool intro. Like that's something that I'm
yeah,
proud of. And
yeah,
it makes $5 or $200, like it's
yeah.
fun, So
Yeah, I think
um
sprinkling that in once in a while, and ultimately, like, you have to do what's best for your channel too. Like, if
yeah,
you are getting momentum, like, you don't want to do something that's gonna like completely
totally out of left
destroy your
field.
channel. Yeah, so there's like a piece of like, we'll call it like the work aspect of YouTube that you have to maintain, but just like sprinkling stuff here and there where it's like, oh, like I actually enjoyed doing that. I
Yeah, and
definitely
see, I run
definitely good
sponsors
for your
too.
health. Yeah,
I run
mental health.
sponsors to help with the money, and man, I did Jiaropack is a long-term sponsor, which I forgot. Jiaropack, I gotta mention them every live.
Oh yeah.
Jiaropack
Here we
bags,
go.
10%, yeah. Usually it's the first. They're really cool though. They
Yeah.
won't like hold me over the fire, but 10%, Taylor 10, you get 10% off Jiaropack. But I ran Found Banking is actually one that you'll start seeing more of because they're cheaper than QuickBooks, does the same thing.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
then I ran Temu, and so many people hated me for the Temu ad. And I was like, dude, their products aren't like Apple products, but they're still okay. Like I showed you why I
Right.
bought it. And it's like that took people hated that. I lost subs and stuff. And I was kind of like, dude, I had to take my dog to the vet. Like that was $140, dude. Like I need
Yeah.
that money to
Right.
help. So it's a balance of like what is right to put out there to not waste people's time, but like, dude, it is a business. You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
do things that make sense. But let's just wrap it up, Josh. If you have any last words, I'm super, first off, really thankful that you came on. I'm really glad that you are uploading again and having this opportunity to kind of chat with you and kind of build a little bit of a friendship that um, I'm excited to see like how you do and I'm here for it, man. But do you have anything else to say to the people
Yeah,
watching and people that are gonna rewatch this?
for sure. No, thanks for having me on, Sean. Everyone in the chat been reading through the comments. Thanks for swinging by and hanging out with us. Sorry for kind of going all over the place in terms of the conversation. We kind
Yeah.
of just jumped on and this is the first
First
time.
time meeting too. We've
Yeah,
never
yeah,
met. So
like
yeah.
actual like a voice conversation, I guess if you want to call it that. So it's been cool just to get to know you better too, and hopefully we kind of help each other as I start back the YouTube thing and you keep doing your thing. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, thanks for having me on, man.
Excellent, excellent. Well, hey guys, appreciate you guys watching. My son is healthy. Now my wife is sick, but I will start uploading, soon enough. You guys like leave comments if you want a specific type of video, maybe I'll take into consideration. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching. See you next time. Bye.